Hi, I'm Michael Ross, and I'm the author of Across the Great Divide, a series of American history in the 19th century, following the life of the real life person, William Dorsey Crump. I'm going to read a little today from the second book, The Search. This follows Will after the Civil War and during the years leading up to when he was the founder of Lubbock, Texas. So here we go. This is dedicated to the thousands of Native Americans that perished at the hands of the U.S. Army and disease. Chapter 1, June 1865, Indiana. Voices in Will's head accused him of murder, cowardice, and betrayal. Peace eluded him. Memories of the war and prison crowded in, mocking him. When he stopped at night, sleep was absent. Except for God, he was alone, and even God felt distant. After leaving his sister's farm in Madison, he made camp in a clearing outside the village of Washington, Indiana. Lightning, dark clouds, and wind threatened from the southwest. A grove of hemlock and black ash made a natural circle promising protection. There were no beautiful orange and pink tones. The sky looked black, clouds hugging the hills and roiling in circles, mirroring the storm in his soul. The wind was bending the trees and blowing the scent of rain. Will set up camp and got a small fire going. Best to cook supper before it became impossible. He brought water from a nearby creek and soon had a pot of beans boiling, mixing in the smell of coffee. He added garlic and onions to the beans. Albinia had insisted he take the seasonings with him. Within half an hour, the dark clouds produced drops of rain sizzling into the fire. Will wolfed his supper and rinsed the tin plate. He checked Dusty's tether and hobbled one more time in case he spooked. The horse snorted, his eyes dilated with the escalating sound of thunder. Will retreated to his bedroll and tent, sitting and looking out at the rain. Maybe he was foolish. Here he was in the middle of a plains thunderstorm when he could be in the snug cabin at Albinia's with family around. But that was the problem. Family. He needed to be alone. For the safety of his family, he couldn't stay with them. Just before he left, his little sister Lydia had awakened him, and he'd almost shot her before he knew what he was doing, thinking himself back in the war. His nerves were stretched taut. Being in Indiana brought back the war and Morgan's raid. He'd made peace with his father, but Will hated to admit that being around him triggered his memories. In his mind, he saw the black horse leaping the barricade in Madison, a blue-clad soldier swinging a rifle, knocking him out of the saddle. He rolled, aiming a pistol, to find it pointed at his father. The experience had shaken him. He relived it in his mind over and over. The former slave, Luther, the battle at Ashland. There were just too many memories that trailed behind him, like the ball and chain that he'd worn at Camp Douglas for a time. He loved his family too much to risk hurting them and losing them forever. If he could figure out what was wrong with him, if he could bury the ghosts that came to haunt him, maybe then there could be peace and home and family. Well, I think you've gotten a little piece of it, and I hope you've enjoyed this impression of Across the Great Divide. Please look into the audiobook. My narrator, Josh Young, does a much better job than I do. And you can also get the print copies and ebooks, and it's on Amazon and Barnes and Noble and pretty much everywhere books are sold. So I hope you enjoy it.